this is the second half of the class ELT125 section 3 on October the 20th. Ooh. All right, so we're talking about tonality in this class, and as I mentioned before, a politician, a news anchor, a priest, a news stand-up comedian will not segment information equally, right? Will not segment because they have different intentions. So let's take a moment to analyze this and see how you chunk this dialogue, how you divide this dialogue. Let's take a moment. I try to take out almost all punctuation. What do you think?
We have to put the I have forget the name.
The vertical bars.
Yeah, we have to put it, right?
Yes, I mean you can let me know and I can do it for you. Right here.
Okay, I think the synthesis is like where shall we sit? And we have to, yeah. Look, there. Look, I think right there.
Okay.
Exactly. I think.
All right. Thank you for yeah.
There are some free seat in the corner. I think this one is okay. There are some free seat in the corner.
Okay, let's see
yes.
if we have Daniela for the next one. Daniela Ibarra.
The seats by the window are better. And it will be cooler there.
Esther, would you like to go on?
Sorry, which phrase? Okay, what would you like to eat?
Is that one intonation phrase?
I think.
So, okay, what would you like to eat? Okay, what would you like to eat would be one intonation phrase, yes?
Yes.
All right. Isabel, would you like to continue? Isabel, would you like to continue?
Okay, teacher, I'm sorry, I need to hear you. It's my
Bless
mom.
You. Okay.
It's my mom.
Tell her
Okay.
I say bless you. All right.
I'm really hungry. I think I'll have chicken and chips with baked beans. Why don't you have chicken too? So I think I'm really hungry. There we have a vertical bar. Then I think I will have chicken and chips. Chicken and chips with baked beans. Another one. Why don't you have chicken too? That's all one.
Perfect. Thanks so much. Who would like to go on? Juan Alfaro? Juan, are you there? Chip,
yes,
strawberries.
Yes, yes.
All right,
Can you
Juan,
hear me?
go please. Yes.
I think that I have to read that. Yes, I don't eat meat. It makes me ill. I have a cheese sandwich instead.
So how many intonation phrases do you think one?
Maybe 3.
Okay, let me know where to mark the vertical bar.
Maybe meat. Eel. And then we have cheese. An eel and cheese.
Sorry, I was reading now with meat. So I don't eat meat, it makes me ill. I'll have a cheese sandwich instead. Is that right one?
Yes, but about the intonation, do I have to say when it's a falling intonation too? But because of if there is falling intonation, instead is falling too.
Yes, no, we're really trying to organize the ideas into thought groups so that we are defining or identifying the boundaries for each one of the intonation phrases. For example, I don't eat meat. It could be one intonation phrase because it's one idea. It makes me ill. We're making a pause here, right? Sort of another intonation phrase, second intonation phrase. Now, this is what I want you to let me know. If there are 2 intonation phrases, 1, 3, 4.
I think that one, but I'm not
What
sure.
do you think? Only one here?
Yes, with the cheese. Oh, I think, but I'm not sure, teacher.
So that's right. So my suggestion would be to get rid of this vertical line so we can get something like this. I'll have a cheese sandwich instead. I'll have a cheese sandwich instead. All right. So you have that intonation phrase, the first one right here, and we already know the second one is right there in the middle.
Okay, teacher, now I get it.
So we get, all right, excellent.
Thanks.
Anyone interested in working with the, sure, anytime. Nelson Parrao, would you like to continue with the next one, please?
Sure, teacher.
Thank you.
And what about drinks? Okay, usually, what about drinks? Like rice intonation? I think I'll have some mind too. I think at the end it's falling intonation.
All right. Now I have to clarify that we're not dealing with intonation now. We're dealing with how we segment the information, how we divide the information into intonation phrases. So what about drinks? That's one idea, right?
Yeah,
I think I'll have, yes. And the next idea, I think I'll have some minty. That's another idea, right?
Right.
Right. So we have here one intonation phrase or tone unit, whatever you want to call them, and this is another intonation phrase. Okay, that's what we're doing. We're sort of dividing the ideas into tone units or intonation phrases. Sebastian Salas, hello. Would you like to continue, Sebastian? Sebastian, are you there? It's not here. Sebastian, it's me. Okay. Fernando, would you like to continue with the last exercise, please?
Yes.
Alrighty.
I'll do it. I'll do it, teacher, if nobody wants to do that.
Yes. Go for it, please. Thank you.
Okay. It should be like no, that's really expensive. Right in the middle, inexpensive.
Gotcha. All right.
Mhm. It's $3. It's $3.16. You have another boundaries here. Yeah, right there. Exactly.
Okay.
I have coffee. I'll have coffee. It's much cheaper. And we have no. And at the end of the sentence, I think. Right there. Exactly. And this is, I think it's like that. I don't know. If I'm not correct, you can correct.
Yeah, it could be. No, that's really expensive. No, that's really expensive. There could be one tone unit. It's $3.60. Yes. I have a coffee. It's much cheaper. Maybe we could say I have a coffee. It's much cheaper. Probably we can have another pause here.
Okay. Put it, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Exactly, because I'll have a coffee, then it's much cheaper. We have
Yes.
it, and
It's like
it.
so. It's like so idea.
Exactly, we have the. Yes, we have a. Yes, we have coffee, the noun, and then we have the pronoun it, which is also referring to coffee. So we cannot have it like I'll have a coffee. It's much cheaper. Maybe I have a coffee because it is much cheaper, right? But not the noun coffee next to the pronoun. Okay,
Yeah.
and also and also if you want, you can also use another pause here and no, because generally we have a comma here. No, that's really expensive. So this is optional. Okay, no. We could have one vertical line here or not. Yeah. But I think I'll have a coffee. Vertical bar is necessary here because of the pronoun and, grammar rules say that we cannot have a noun and then a pronoun right next to it because the pronoun is supposed to, refer to the noun. So excellent, you got it. You got it all correct. Let me show you. Am I sharing the sound? I don't know. Let me try again. Okay. So, do you know Emma Watson?
Yes.
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 Yes. All right. So Emma Watson is a very very cool character, right? It's a very good not character but person, and
Right.
yeah. So I would like to share this. Let me try again. This time with the sound right here. So Emma Watson, I'm going to play for you a hopefully recording from YouTube. And the idea is that we can listen to the way she's speaking and the way that she is segmenting the information. Because as I told you, when we divide the information, we don't do it exactly the same, depending on the intention, depending on the social identity that we may have, depending on the audience, we segment the information in a different way. Okay, so let me see if I can get this. If not, because I'm not getting anything here, I'm going to try again. And and see if I can share it or look it on the LMS. Sorry, YouTube. Okay, so obviously this is not working. I don't know why. So I'm going to try to get the video from YouTube and see if I get lucky. Okay. Okay, here we go. I think it's going to work now. Hopefully. Crossing my fingers.
I was appointed as Goodwill Ambassador for UN Women 6 months ago. And the more I've spoken about feminism, the more I have realized that fighting for women's rights has too often become synonymous with man-hating. If there is one thing I know for certain, it is that this has to stop. For the record, feminism, by definition, is the belief that men and women should have equal rights and opportunities. It is the theory of the political, economic, and social equality of the sexes. I started questioning gender-based assumptions a long time ago. When I was 8, I was confused at being called bossy because I wanted to direct the plays that we would put on for our parents. But the boys were not. When at 14, I started to be sexualized by certain elements of the media. When at 15, my girlfriends started dropping out of their beloved sports teams because they didn't want to appear muscly. When at 18, my male friends were unable to express their feelings.
All right, so I don't know if you're getting the ideas here, but did you see the way she was dividing her thoughts? How would you describe this? Was she continuously expressing her ideas? Was she making several pauses? Was she very fluent? Was she making several stops for specific reasons? What do you think?
She made several stops while talking.
What do you think was that? Why?
To enumerate some of the things that she's saying, to give examples.
Okay. Exactly. Any other idea that may come up?
I think that the main reason is that she want to mark the emphasis in what she is talking about, try to separate ideas and make them clearer.
Totally agree with you. William, you were raising your hand.
Yes, you can understand, right? Can you understand me?
Yes.
Okay. I think emotions and feelings are very important for the stops when you are speaking.
Right. Right. Totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. And this was a very emotional discourse, right?
Right. Right. It's a emotional in this way. This is an emotional speech.
Totally agree with you. Isabel, please.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes, very clear.
Okay. So when she wants to emphasize something, she stops, maybe make a long pause. For example, when she talk about feminism, when she talk about the age that she realized something, I was 8, and then I was 15, and then I was, you know. So in this case, this is a very meaningful, I think, discourse. So you have to be very careful when you're saying things. That's why Emma tried to be very clear in her discourse.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. My own very thoughts. Any other comment you would like to make?
I think, teacher, that she was making those kind of poses because, as my partner was saying, she want to make her idea clear. So when, like, for example, while more poses she make, it's like more clear is to understand what she's trying to say or trying to explain. So yeah, I think she was to try to make the audience to get the attention. I don't know how to explain that. Get the attention of the audience. So she knew how to express her idea, and the idea was very clear, and she was talking like very calm, without any stress. Would I to say something like that?
Yeah, totally. Totally. So that's something that I want you to consider, because whenever you hear someone who's giving a speech like this one, in which several important topics that are very, as you mentioned, emotional and relevant for her, and she's trying to convince an audience about these specific ideas, you are going to segment the information specifically in a very careful manner. You're going to be very conscious about the pauses that you're making, and this is not going to be exactly the same as when you hear someone like gosh, I'm very scared about showing a stand-up comedian, because I don't want to click on anyone and then regret not having checked it before. Because the one that I had selected in the PowerPoint presentation, I already filtered that the topic was, okay, but then it's not showing. So I don't know. But the point is, you can check any stand-up comedian, and then probably you're going to see that there are some differences, particularly when he or she is segmenting the ideas, the thoughts, the intonation phrases. Okay, let me see if I can find an example of.
Thank you. Too much applause. This could be shit, but thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming out. How's it? Good evening. Right. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Or as the French say, good evening. No, it's bonjour, bienvenue. Yes, yes, I'm learning. I'm trying to practice my French. I'm not gonna lie, Montreal probably has the sexiest border I've ever come to in my life. Yeah, I didn't feel like I was being interrogated. I felt like I was being flirted with. It was really sexy. And say, what are you planning to do in Montreal? I'm planning to stay. That's what I'm doing. Oh, the French. the most romantic language in the world. No, the accent is romantic as well, but it is. It's funny how every accent has its own connotation to it. Speak with a French accent, you are sexy. How are you, ladies? And then there's some accents just appeal to them at all. Like the Russian accent. There's nothing sexy about it. Everything the Russians say sounds dangerous and menacing. Doesn't matter what they say, because they got that thing. Yes, I'm Russian, go to kill you, break you, destroy your family. Like, even if Russians say nice things, it still sounds dangerous. They still go, yes, fluffy rabbits and teddy bears.
All right, so what do you think? What about the way this comedian is segmenting his thoughts?
I like this guy. I think I'm going to watch some video of him.
All right, that's good. That's good. I'm glad. So how is a stand-up comedian segmenting his or her thoughts? Is it the same as a politician or Emma Watson giving her speech about feminism?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
Why not?
More, I think they talk so fast because you don't have time to realize if the joke is good or not. You just laugh. Even the joke is good or not. So that's a strategy too, because he talks too fast, and then you heard somebody laughing, and you laugh because laugh is contagious. So you laugh, you don't realize what was he saying or she's saying. No, but okay. I think you couldn't hear me the last part because my internet is terrible. But I think you can understand.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, I did. I could understand. Yeah, I totally agree. That you keep on laughing sometimes because of the influence of other people laughing. Yeah, totally. William, you want to stay?
Yeah. This speaker is faster than Emma Watson, and his stops are less than Emma Watson. The stops in this I think are for finish idea, a specific idea and examples. Use that. Thanks. You, teacher, you are mute.
Thank you. So you need to think about who the speaker is. What's the purpose of the speech? What's the audience, right? What kind of personality does the speaker have? His particular characteristics as a speaker, right? Some people just speak very slow, some speak very fast. And the purpose of the second one and the stand-up comedian and the Emma Watson speech was different, and the context was different. William.
Yes, Emma Watson once provide us a context. It's a strong speech, but this speaker, I think, once provide us energy, love, and are different ways for a speech.
That's right. That's right. The point is there are many factors in order for us to understand how tonality is being used. So there's no one way, right? It depends on the speaker. It depends on the context. It depends on his or her personal traits or personal characteristics, and particularly the purpose of the speech, right? So tonality is how we divide the spoken discourse, okay? The way we divide the ideas, the thoughts, right? Tonality refers to the division of a speech into intonation or tone groups. That's one intonation phrase, right? Each tone group contains a single unit of information and represents the speaker's perception and management of the whole message. Because if we make more pauses, probably we're going to make more emphasis in some ideas. What's the point of making more emphasis or emphasizing certain ideas? We definitely want to highlight the message, right? And we want the message to be understood by the listener. Whereas a comedian just want us to keep us entertained. He or she tries to make us laugh. So it's going to be very quick, very fun, very little pauses, and suddenly the pauses are going to make just something to, I don't know, wait for the applause, right? Because a comedian will let people show the appreciation through clapping, and then he or she is going to keep moving. So tonality is that, dividing the discourse into units of information or intonation phrases. Okay? Now, when we talk about tonicity, and we're going to just start talking about tonicity because tonicity is the topic for next session, but hopefully we can get some ideas here. Every tone unit has a tonicity.
Teacher, if you are talking, we cannot hear you. You are mute.
Yes, I'm sorry. So tonicity is the other concept. Remember the three T's? Tonality, tone, and tonicity. So tonicity implies that in this intonation unit or tone unit, there will be one tonic syllable, one word which will contain one syllable, and that syllable is going to be the most prominent in the whole intonation phrase. Remember that an intonation phrase can be one word, one phrase, one sentence, right? And in any of them, there's going to be one prominent syllable. Okay? Now, in this, when we identify tonicity, we will identify the tonic syllable, the tonic syllable. Let me show you an example, okay? But let me try and see if we can identify the head, the pre-head, and the tail in each one of the utterances. For example, in the word those, in the word those, we have in the word those, let me try again. And this time, okay, in the word those, again, sorry. This is one word, is one tonic syllable. Give me those. We see that this is the tone. In a little less than an hour, this is hour is the most prominent syllable here, hour. And then I said my father was here. Sorry, and then I said my father was here. So again, those, give me those, in a little less than an hour. And then I said my father was here. So number 1, 2, 3, and 4 are intonation phrases or tone units. right? What's the tonic syllable in number 1? That one, right? It's the only one. Those. That's the syllable that's most prominent. Give me those. Give me those. What's the most prominent syllable? Again, those. In a little less than an hour. In a little less than an hour. Hour. Hour is the most prominent syllable. And then number 4, and then I said my father was here. My father was here. That's the most prominent syllable in the utterance, okay? So, tone unit or intonation phrase, in number 1 is this, in number 2 is this. That's the tone unit or intonation phrase, right? So we know that it can be one word or even a long sentence. The tonic syllable is the most prominent syllable. What's the most prominent syllable in number 1? O. Those. Right? The same in number 2. Our in number 3, and father, fa, in number 4. So the tonic syllable that we're going to describe as TS, tonic syllable, is this one, there, there, and there. Now let me get rid of this. Okay, so the tonic syllable is the most prominent syllable in each one of these tone units or intonation phrases, right? In the first one, I think there's no problem, no issue, because it's just one word. Give me those. So this is the tonic syllable. The previous information, give me, is going to be considered the head. Give me is going to be considered the head. Okay? So the head is going to be anything that comes before the tonic syllable. Okay? Anything, any information that comes before the tonic syllable is going to be considered the head. Okay? So in number 3, the tone syllable is hour. In a little less than an hour. Hour is the most prominent syllable. Right? So what comes before the tonic syllable is going to be considered the head of the tone unit. Okay? Now let's be more precise now. And then I said my father was here. And then I said my father was here. Remember that this is supposed to be said. I'm sorry. I'm going to fix it later, all right? And then I said my father was here. Father is a tonic syllable because it's the most prominent syllable in this tone unit or intonation phrase, right? What comes before is the head, right? So the head is going to be everything. But now let's add additional information. The head is going to be considered everything that comes before up to the first stressed syllable. And then I said my father was here. And then I said my father was here. And then I, and then I. So that's the first syllable, the stress syllable, before the tonic syllable. So that's going to be the head. And before this stressed syllable, it's going to be called pre-head. Pre-head. After the tone syllable, the tonic syllable, we're going to be talking about the tail. Let me give you another example to see if this might be clear. In a little less than an hour, I think. In a little less than an hour, I think. How long do you think your friend is going to take? I think it's going to be here in a little less than an hour, I think. Okay, let's suppose that this is the intonation phrase. In a little less than an hour, I think. In a little less than an hour, I think. Than an hour. So hour is going to be the tonic syllable, because in this tone unit or intonation phrase, this is the most prominent syllable of the whole tone unit or intonation phrase. Okay, so that's the tonic syllable, the tonic. Now, in a little less than an hour, in a little less than an hour, in a little less than an hour, this is going to be considered the head. But the head is anything that comes before the tonic syllable up to the first stressed syllable. So little is stressed in the first syllable. So that is the first stressed syllable, right? So from here up to here is going to be considered the head. And before that, we have this unstressed two syllables, inner. That's going to be considered the pre-head. Okay, now the tail, it's going to be much easier to be identified, because the tail is anything that comes after the tonic syllable. In this case, I think. So if you think about this, it's sort of something like this. In a little less than an hour, I think. So the tonic is going to be the tonic syllable is going to be the most prominent syllable in a tone unit or an intonation phrase. If there's anything that comes after this prominent syllable, we're going to call it tail. Right here. Whatever comes before is going to be called the head. Now, if you see that there's a word that is stressed in one of the syllables, that's going to mark the beginning of the head. So the head is going to be from the first stressed syllable immediately before the tonic syllable. And right before, we're going to call it pre-head. Okay, I know this might not be very, very easy, right? But the idea is that, remember, many of the, all of it, I would say all the tone units or intonation phrases have one tonic syllable, one syllable that is the most prominent in the intonation phrase. So every time you read, for example, it is the syllable on which the major pitch movement begins. It is the syllable. Let's suppose that we have here one intonation phrase. It is the syllable. So in the sentence, it is the syllable. Which do you think is going to be called the tonic syllable? Where? In which word?
Syllable.
Syllable, right? Now, more specifically, which syllable in the word syllable?
The first one?
The first one?
The first one, exactly. The first one, you got it. So the first one is going to be called the tonic syllable. What are we going to call the rest? After.
Head. Head. After, before.
After
After is the tail. And
the tail.
before is head.
And before is the head, exactly. Exactly. It is the syllable. It is the syllable. Before, we don't have any stressed syllable so that we can have the head, and before a pre-head. It is the syllable. It is the syllable. So this is how we can analyze this intonation phrase or tone unit, right? We can identify that there is a tonic syllable, after there is a tail, and before there is a head. Okay, that is the idea that I want you to keep in mind. Remember that this is called tonicity. Tonicity deals with identifying, when we identify tonicity, we're identifying the most prominent syllable in an intonation phrase, okay, or tone unit. Every tone unit or intonation phrase has one tonic syllable. And every single tone unit or intonation phrase has a tone. Remember I told you that tonality, tonicity, and tone were three systems that worked combined as a team, right? So for studying these, we would talk about them separately. You know, tonality first, maybe then tonicity, and then tone. But they all work together in order to make these intonation patterns in the English language. Okay, so next session, hopefully, we're going to be continuing with tonicity, right? Or identifying which is the most prominent element in a tone unit or intonation phrase, and also identifying if that tone unit has a head, a pre-head, or a tail. Okay, because tonic syllable is necessary, is mandatory. Always there's one tonic syllable, but the tail, the head, and the pre-head are optional, right? Depending on the intonation phrase. Okay, so do you have any questions before we finish this session?
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
The tonic syllable is part of which T? Tonality, tone, or tonicity? I think it's tonicity, no?
Yes, it's part of tonicity. Yes.
Okay. And
yes.
Just need that confirmation.
Yeah, good question. Good question. So when we work with tonality, we chunk, we say, okay, this is one boundary, this is one tone unit, this is another tone unit, and this is another tone unit. We segment the intonation groups or intonation phrases. That's tonality, chunking, tonality. Tonicity is identifying in these tone units which is the most prominent syllable, the one that carries the tonic stress, the tonic syllable. And all of these have one tonic syllable and only one. Okay? And then tone, we're going to see this particular tone unit. If it has a rise or a fall or a rise fall when we deal with tone. That's going to be the topic for a different lesson. Any other questions or comments before we finish? So I thank you for the spirit. Thank you, Isabel, for bringing this interesting idea. I really enjoyed. Congratulations, William, Esther. I think who else was also participating? A fun idea. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thank you to you, teacher, because you don't man.
Alrighty. So I talk to you next class, guys. Have a wonderful evening. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, teacher.
Bye, teacher. Have a nice day.
You too, and be careful with your computers. Be careful with your computers, all right?
All right.